I do not have a plan. So I'm going to wax poetic about something that's going to come to my head on the dot. The reason I don't have a plan is because of day drinking, which I know, whatever, it's a privilege. I'm not intoxicated as we speak, so I'll stand by my rule of not drinking while I do this. But I did have a good day, and I will not apologize for that. Amazing day. Stellar. All right, so I'm thinking, lay out my 3 points here. I'm going to be short and sweet tonight, by the way, because I just want to be short and sweet. See, though, you know how I do. You know how I do. You know how I do. All right, what are we going to talk about tonight, folks? Come on, Nate. People are listening. Millions and millions. Millions. Millions of people. Peaches and cream.
Why, yada! I just don't believe it.
No,
I don't really know about that. I just don't believe it.
that's Taylor Merrill, baby. All right, so I'm going blind here. Give me a sound check. Somebody, give me a sound check. What you got? You got sound check? Today I'm going to try to see the comments. So I know, Kristen, you made some comments last time. I'm going to try to talk about them. But you're going to see how my creative mind works because this is on the fly. On the fucking fly. Let's fucking do this. All right, everybody, welcome. This is Nightcap. My name's Nate Bomberger, and we're brought to you by Smash the Party. That's the platform that you're watching. We're trying to change the world one fucking swear word at a time. So listen, I spent today doing one of my favorite fucking things, which is day drinking. Wife did not approve it. I just kind of did it without permission, but it was amazing. I love it. Just getting a little tiny buzz in the afternoon, chilling, take a little nap, and then come back. So I'm feeling like it's like fucking Saturday morning, and I have the whole day in front of me. So I didn't really plan today, but we're going to try to demonstrate my innovation and my on-the-spot ability. And I'm going to talk about something that I think is relevant, and it bothers me a lot. But I'm going to actually hammer on Joe Biden a little bit today. So for the conservative folks, the one or two folks out of the 50 people that are watching, the conservative folks are going to like today because I'm going to hammer this motherfucker. And it's not going to be pretty. And my liberal friends are going to be like, why are you saying that? Why are you hammer? You know, he's one of our guys. He's not one of our guys. He's not doing the fucking job right. He's fucking talking shit. So that's what I'll do. And I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet tonight. So we'll see how it goes. But I want to talk about the fact that Joe Biden today was bragging about the fact that he's not Bernie Sanders, that he's mainstream status quo. I was like, that's not really a flex, Joe. That's not a fucking flex. It's not a flex to say, hey, I'm not Bernie Sanders, is what he actually said. I'm not Bernie Sanders. See, I got 48 or 50 Democrats that support me. Corporate Democrat, they don't have a fucking choice but to support you. It's like, you know, the party thing is fucked up. They have to support you. Otherwise, you can't get shit done because the entire Democratic Party has absolutely failed to sell the fucking real solutions to things. And by minimizing and saying, hey, I'm not Bernie Sanders, what you're saying to me is, yeah, I'm not progressive, I guess, or I don't know, but it's not a flex. And so today I'm going to just rant about that. Really not going to follow the 3-point structure that I typically follow. And it's my show, so I can do what the fuck I want. And that's how I plan on doing it. By the way, if you're watching and you're wondering where the magnificent, beautiful afro is, I got too many fucking comments. People are losing their fucking minds over the afro. I had to tone it back a little bit. You weren't ready. You weren't ready for the fucking afro. And so today I put a little product in my hair, went back to old Status Quo Nate, and Status Quo Nate's going to talk about Status Quo Joe. So let's get into it. So on social media today, as I'm perusing, trying to figure out what I'm going to say before this show, I saw and I watched a video clip of Joe Biden stating that he's not Bernie Sanders and he's got 48 out of the 50 Democrats support. And I just kind of, I mean, I cringe at that. You know, if you don't know, I was an Elizabeth Warren fan. And I will say, this is going to sound really misogynist or chauvinistic, but I really, when I first heard her, I was like, I can't take her voice. It was kind of like, you know, and I had to check myself. But even when I didn't like her voice, like the sound of her voice and kind of how it was, I read her plans and I was like, fuck, this lady's on top of it. So I got over that quickly. And the reason I state that is because a lot of times people have this aversion to a candidate. The first things, you know, something physical or something, the way they talk or something. And that was the case with her, but I kind of just wanted to dig because I felt that it was time to have a woman president. And I know she's super bright and super smart and she had great credentials. And I love the fact that she's always been championing, you know, she's a teacher, first of all. And she also, in my opinion, was kind of academically challenging the status quo with some of her bankruptcy research. So if you don't know, Elizabeth Warren was one of the most cited folks in academia in regards to bankruptcy law. So what it means all that means is in the world of academia, when you're cited, it's an honor. Someone saying, hey, look, I'm using this person as a reference. And so when you have a lot of citations, oftentimes that indicates that you're an expert or you've made some kind of profound statement. Yours truly is published. I'm published twice. I don't know how many times I'm cited, but you know, it's an academic paper and you can look at it. I was kind of like tag along, got thrown into it. And so I'm not stating, you know, I'm not taking any credit for it, but I did write the software that the paper was referencing. So, you know, it's not a big deal to get published, but it's a huge deal to get cited by other academics. And so that's why, you know, when I started looking at her street cred, I was like, damn, she's legit. And so the reason why I supported her, despite the fact that I had that initial aversion, was because of the fact that she had fucking real plans. They like made sense. And she like, you know, every time someone put her on the spot about something, she was on CNBC, talking about some of the stuff. And I've watched clips of her, you know, in Wall Street's fucking backyard. That's essentially their portal where they can, you know, they can put out their feelers to the public. And she got on there and was like duking it out with everybody. She's not even fucking scared. So, you know, you look at her history, she has 3 brothers. I just feel like she was like definitely one of those folks that was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck if you're a man or not. I'm going to keep on fighting. And it comes through. There's an awesome reference. And by the way, I'm going to talk about Joe Biden and how shit he is, but I want to talk to you about why I chose her and why it's relevant, because this is what we could have had. But there's an interesting clip of her duking it out with Joe Biden in the Senate. She comes to a Senate hearing. This is before she was a senator, and she was coming representing, talking about, I think it was credit card or some kind of, it was credit, I believe. But she was hammering it out. Joe Biden was kind of laughing. He was, it was back when he could speak fucking without looking like he was going to die. And, he was a sharp guy and she was a sharp woman. And it just looked like she was kind of batting him around. There's nothing better. There's nothing better euphoric for me than watching her fillet, literally like right down through the sternum, fillet Mike Bloomberg, who pops in thinking he's a billionaire, is going to win it. And she looks at him and fillets him on TV. Like his candidacy went like belly up. And it was because of her words. And she just looked, you got to look at this clip. This woman was fierce. She was like, look, I'm fucking looking at you, motherfucker. Explain your fucking NDA bullshit. Explain it. Tell me why we should support you over the fucking the last clown that we have. Obviously, he's a clown. Tell me why we should support you. And it was just fucking awesome. And that was when I was like, I had already given her the max amount of contribution, honestly, I believe. And I don't know if my wife knows this, but I was funneling money. And I don't like to play the system, but in presidential races, oftentimes I do get involved, but I don't like to give money, and she inspired me to give money. I gave some money to Bernie Sanders one year, a little bit, and then I kind of turned it off. But I was like, you know what? This queen needs to rule. She needs to fucking come in Washington and wreck. And so when I look at Joe Biden and I hear him say something like what he said today, I'm disgusted by it. What do you fucking mean, Bernie? I'm not Bernie Sanders. No, you're fucking not. You're not Elizabeth Warren either. What you are is your status fucking quo. And we got status quo because we had such a shitstorm of banality and just incompetence in Trump that everyone, including the never Trumpers, were like, oh yeah, we got to get Biden. And I mentioned this story before, but I was on a Twitter feed that I paid, actually a subscribed Twitter feed, believe it or not. This is before they even came out with it formally. And I was paying, $10 a month for this security gentleman who was an expert. And he was an expert. He was an expert in kind of intelligence and everything else and the whole Russian thing. So I wanted to get the inside scoop, and it was good info. And it was always validated, and it was kind of vetted. It wasn't just some kook, some kind of internet conspiracy theorist. It was legit stuff. And so I followed this gentleman on Twitter, and I noticed that a lot of them are Republicans in this feed. And so you could see the swell of, yeah, we really don't like Trump. The intelligence community hated Trump, obviously, because he's really an intelligence risk, and they weren't sure whether he was an asset of Russia or not. And so it was, there was a lot of back and forth about him. But then I kind of threw in the mix about Elizabeth Warren, and they lost their shit. They lost their shit. So much so that I eventually had to leave, and I tried to come back, and they wouldn't even let me back in. But they made statements like she's for open border, and Joe Biden's the way to go. And so all these Republicans that hated Trump wanted Joe Biden. That's when I knew it was problematic. That's when I knew Joe Biden would be a so-so president. Of course, I've said this many times, I'd vote for fucking Afterbirth before I'd vote for Donald Trump. But watching the never Trumpers and the Republicans embrace Joe Biden is when I knew him, like, this guy's going to be fucking mediocre. And and I never said this during the election because I didn't want people to be turned off. And of course I wanted the clown show, the guy with no clothes that y'all had fucking balls swinging in your face. And I said it every time, and I know it stings your ears, but that's what it felt like to me. It felt like y'all were filleting this motherfucker who was a racist celebrity fuckstick. But so because of that, I felt like Joe Biden, of course I'm going to vote for whoever the Democratic candidate is. Let me just take a puff my inhaler. Yeah, I did it live. But so I was, during that time, I was pushing for Elizabeth Warren. I didn't do anything but push for Elizabeth Warren. And I felt like she would have been a fantastic president. She can get shit done. She's not intimidated by anybody. She really doesn't give a fuck. And she's just like, hey, this is the right way and the right thing. And she also has this approach that teachers have, which she can take like complex things or issues and kind of funnel them down and make them really simple. And she can also attack the core of any counter argument really quickly. So if you watch her and watch her debate or watch her argue or watch her make a point, it's beautiful. It's like poetry in motion. And she's not like, I believe she was on the debate team, but you can see that everything she does is just on point. And so, look, I could wax on forever about Elizabeth Warren. It's such a disappointment not to have somebody like of that caliber in the office. Instead, we've got half-dead Joe Biden, who is bashing people in his own party by suggesting that he's not radical enough or not progressive enough. And so when you throw out there that I'm not Bernie Sanders, you know what that says to me? That says to me that I really don't understand the issues of the day, and I'm just going to keep things the way they are, and I'm going to maybe put my finger in this little hole so the ship's not sinking that fast. I know there's fucking a floodgate out the back, but I'm really just going to do what will get me through. And so to me, Joe Biden's a coward. He's a fucking coward. And, I know I feel bad because he's so old, he might not even understand this. But to suggest that Bernie Sanders is some radical when the things that Bernie Sanders has been pushing and Elizabeth Warren have been pushing for years are things that just about every first world country has. So to suggest that, this is radical to say, hey, look, I believe that everyone should have access to really cheap, affordable health care, no matter what your status is, that's fucking radical. That's Bernie Sanders. Oh, yeah, I believe that college tuition should be free, for state schools or whatever, just like 0 to 12 is. And like a lot of countries have, they fund they supplement their education. That's radical. So that's Joe Biden again being a fucking, Bernie Sanders is a radical because he supports these things. These aren't like, they're only radical because conservative America has taken over the airwaves and suggested that they're radical. These are first world requirements. These are things that are going to help us get through the next pandemic, for Christ's sake. Look at our fucking ass stumbling through this pandemic. It's like, ooh, we're going to get fucking 400 million masks are going to be sent out. And that's like a big deal. Really, logistically, a country can't fucking do that? That's a big fucking deal? That should be like, that should be easy peasy Japanesey. And if that's racist, I apologize to my Japanese friends, but that's just a thing that I said when I was a child. So the idea that, I'm not Bernie Sanders, when he said that today, I was just like, it just made me cringe. It's like, yeah, you're not. You're not. You're just mediocre. You're average. You're not doing anything powerful. You're not making a stand for anything. You're getting by. And Republicans are, of course, that's the thing about it. Republicans, they're going to lose their shit no matter what. No matter what, whether you're a radical motherfucker or you're fucking status quo. Barack Obama was painted as every single fucking candidate is the most leftist agenda ever. You got Dan Crenshaw on Instagram saying, the leftist. The fuck are you talking about? What has Joe done that's so leftist? Seriously, what has he done? What's he done that's fucking progressive? What's he done that's really scary? Nothing. If you're like a hardcore Republican, you're not, if you're scared, that's just because you need a boogeyman to feel alive, I guess. But this guy's not done anything radical. He's not pushed any agenda. In fact, he basically said today that I'm status quo Joe. So we got status quo Joe. And I'm pulling out the sobriquets like Donald Trump, and I'm going to say status quo Joe was not my guy. And, I'm not talking about doing things that are just like, every single time I get on or I make a post, there comes the ism brigade, which they'll throw out that I'm a socialist, they'll throw out that I'm a communist, and they say all these things. What they don't understand is I have not read those fucking books. I've not read fucking Karl Marx. I don't believe I have. Maybe I did at one time. I don't think I did. And I certainly don't study like philosophies of governance and political. You know, I'm not a political scientist. I could give a shit. All I am is I'm a fucking ex-engineer slash. Well, I'm an engineer. I'm kind of still an engineer because I'm doing some shit actually. But I'm not coming at it with like, hey, we need to be a socialist or hey, we need to be a communist. I'm coming at it like this fucking problem exists. What's your game? What's your gameplay? What is your play? And so that's where I come from. My play is always like how do we solve this problem? I don't care if you have an ism that you want to put it under, and if you have an umbrella that you want to call it, uh, you know, socialism, capitalist 2.0, whatever it is. As I said before, we can keep your fucking name capitalism. I don't care, but I'm going to say that it sucks right now and just capitalism 2.0. Again, my liberal friends are like, no, we got to get rid of capitalism. I don't really care about capitalism other than it has obviously caught major flaws and cracks in how it's implemented. And those flaws and cracks turn into livelihood. Folks that are feeling pain and take the brunt of the pain that, you know, and the folks at the top are essentially pulling off the chaff and becoming rich. So any system that says, hey, if you're doing X, Y, Z, you get everything, and then, hey, if you have some struggles, you get nothing, is fucked up to me because that's not how it works. You may be sitting on top of the hill right now, but you could be one accident, one diagnosis, one mental health breakdown away from losing it all in this country because there's no social safety net. We have nothing. And so Status Quo Joe essentially came out and said, you know what? Yeah, I'm status quo. And it was like, it just ripped through me. I'm thinking, why is that a flex, dude? Why is that a fucking flex? How is it flexing when you're saying, you know what? I'm just average. I'm not scary to the Republicans. And quite frankly, I'm not suggesting that you be scary to the Republicans, but anything that requires any collective agreement or collectivity at all, you know, they like the rugged individualist bullshit that Trump is. Anything that's collective to them is socialism. So why not just fucking get it done? What are you scared of? It's cowardice. It's like looking out for your legacy as opposed to a real legacy that could be amazing by just fucking going against the grain and doing something awesome. He's going to be one of those presidents going to be like just kind of there. He's mediocre. He came after one of the worst, so he's going to look pretty good comparatively. But there's just nothing. I don't see him kind of expanding on anything and doing anything that's going to impact a lot of folks' lives. I know you got the child credit. You got folks that are going to say that I don't know what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is changing the fabric of society, the way we work. Like, if you were able to have free health care, it'd be amazing. Today, I'm on the fucking phone doing a telehealth medicine appointment with my doctor. And I asked, I'm going to throw this out there. You know, I'm young, but I'm African-American. I'm adopted. I haven't had a fucking colonoscopy, and I'm not looking forward to it. But my wife's like, hey, you know what? We don't know your family history. African-Americans typically have, earlier set on. Obviously, Chad Boswick from Black Panther. He passed from this, and so it's something that I'm concerned about. I have no issues, and this is kind of embarrassing, but you know how I roll. I don't give a fuck. So I asked my doctor, I said, look, you know what? My wife wanted me to ask to see if we can set up for this fucking colonoscopy thing. And she said, first thing she says, like, because we don't know your history, you don't have any issues, it's really not going to happen. And, unless it's going to be a money thing. So I kind of went back and forth with her, but I really got her to say it. And she kind of tried to minimize it because she knew what I was doing. I was like, so really, if it weren't for the insurance, the fact that it wasn't covered, you'd say, like, go get one just to be sure, right? She's like, yeah. And so she admitted that the reason why she doesn't want me to get one or recommend it because she doesn't want to impart the $2,500. And I actually said, I'm like, I'll pay the money out of pocket to prevent myself from having cancer, and I'm able to do that, right? I'm privileged, but not a lot of folks can. So just today, I encountered an issue with the fucking healthcare system that said, hey, you know what? Monetarily, you may be at risk. You may have, we don't know your family history because you're adopted, but you know what? it's gonna cost you, and because of cost, I'm gonna recommend we do all these other things where we look at your poop and shit like that. And I was just like, what the fuck? So, this is what we live in. So when I talk about these things that I want changed, it's not something that is foreign or radical. It's something every one of us deals with. And if you're young and stupid and idiotic and think you're invulnerable like I did, and you think that this isn't going to affect you, guess what? Eventually, your balls are going to be hanging at your knees if you're a dude, and your titties are going to be down to your waist if you're a woman. We get old, okay? We get fucking old. That happens. It just happens. It just happens. I didn't think I'd get old. I thought I'd live forever. I still look fucking good. You know it. But I'm old, and all this weird shit happens. I get out of bed. I fucking almost injure myself getting out of bed sometimes, doing nothing but getting out of bed. And so it's important for me. There's a comment. What's the comment? Let me see the comment. I'm going to see the comment just because I need to see comments. Hey, bro, volume is touch. Oh, okay, cool. Let me just jack that up. Is that better? Hold on. All right. Is that better? Let me give me a sound check. See, I should have done a sound check. That should be better, hopefully. Hopefully. Tell me yes. Sorry about that, guys. The volume was low on the other end. I'm hoping that did a little better. So what I was trying to say was that should be good. Yeah, that's better. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I apologize. I should have done a sound check before I got on, but you can just crank up your volume in the early just to fix that. But anyway, so what I was saying is that this status quo Joe bullshit and kind of making it a flex to suggest that you're not Bernie Sanders, to me, just shows kind of how weak of a president he is. And, there's nothing you're going to tell me that's not going to allow me to vote for him again if he's the candidate, especially if he's against DeSantis or pretty much any Republican. Republicans don't have an end game, and so that's why they're not going to get my vote until I can clearly understand what their vision is for America. And they haven't done that yet. Joe Biden did make that same statement today, by the way. He said, what do Republicans stand for? And I've been saying that for a while. They're basically the party of no. And so it's easy for me, somebody who cares about the country, somebody who cares about the next person beside them, to vote for the alternative. Not happily, but I've done it. And I'll continue to do it, especially when all I'm seeing out of the Republican Party is kind of anti-science, anti-anything, anti-history, anti-everything. But I think that if conservatives had their way, there would be a cave where we all lived in, and we would just be in there kumbaya and fearful of the outside. I just don't know what it looks like, their utopia looks like. And so it's easy for me to vote for anything that the Democrats produce right now. And I'm not going to be an idiot like the libertarians and say, vote for third party because your fucking third party bullshit. There's no vision for the country there. There's no end game. There's no end. There's no, hey, this is what we believe America's going to look like when we get everything we want. That's what you have to start fucking doing. When you get everything that's in the platform. By the way, when Joe Biden says, I'm not Bernie Sanders, what the fuck is he talking about? He signed up for the same platform. That's what pisses me off. This is the Democratic platform. Is it like a pie where you can take what you want? No, this, especially when you're the president. Basically, if you're the president, in my opinion, everything in that platform should be kind of front and center. Otherwise, what's the point? And I'm not saying I understand that there are pro-life Democrats and pro-choice Republicans, and that's a conflict that I'm not willing to get into. And I think that if you're anti-choice, you're already a fucking idiot. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, by the way. It's not a purity test for me, but it's just it's like you're not really high in the totem pole. My point is that I understand that you can kind of walk into this purity test if you say that every person has to be kind of advocate for every single part of the platform. But what are you advocating for if you're not advocating for Medicare for all and universal health care and things that are going to get us to the 21st century? I mean, I just don't understand how that's radical anymore. And so it really frustrates me. We don't know what the GOP vision looks like because it's very different. Yeah, agreed. So there's a comment from a reader. Let me just see if I can put this up on my screen. Whatever, we're live, so you guys don't give a fuck. Maybe it'll come up, maybe it won't. But we're going to try. We're going to try to do this live, which is such a bad idea. This is such a bad idea. Things could go really badly. But we're going to try it because, I like to roll. You know how I like to roll. Let's see. No. All right. It's not. Oh, yeah. See? So my comments are coming up. Now, if you write, your comments will come up. Anyway. So they're not there now. Sorry, Dennis. I couldn't see your comment. But let me just see if I can read this. We don't know what the GOP vision looks like because it's very different for the actual politician that it is for their constituents. They can't tell their constituents. Yeah, agreed. You're right. I mean, when they get in there, they're not doing what they said they're doing on the campaign trail for sure. So, it's kind of that thing. And so we can even say that for the Democrats, by the way. We can even say that the Democrats don't have, they're going in and they're saying, hey, this is on our platform, and we're not seeing that actually implemented. And so I can take that off. That's annoying, you guys. But if you comment, it's going to pop up. So, but anyway, and that's kind of a larger issue, quite frankly, that exists where we're having people campaign on one thing, they're doing another. But for the larger point that I'm making, that is that there's no end game. There's no end game even in their platform. In the Republican platform, there's no vision for America as opposed to, oh, man, I'm just going to leave it up. I don't know why. Dennis, I'm sorry. My chat sucks. This is the first time I did that, so I'm just going to leave it up. If it fills up my screen, it fills up my screen. So the real problem and the issue I wanted to talk about tonight was just the fact that Status Quo Joe is out there bragging about not being Bernie Sanders, and I'm thinking that's not a flex. I think that's problematic. I was Elizabeth Warren fan because I felt like Bernie Sanders was too old too, and I felt like we needed a woman. And people say that she stole Bernie Sanders. Dude, she had real plans. She was legit. She was a real candidate. She wasn't doing anything but being Elizabeth Warren. And so I know the Bernie Brigade gets all fired up when I say that, Elizabeth Warren was my person. Why didn't you vote for Bernie? I wanted Elizabeth Warren. I felt she was better. She was more solid. She could debate better. She was just Bernie Sanders is consistent. He was the dude. There's nothing wrong with Bernie Sanders, so the Bernie Brigade can chill the fuck out. But Elizabeth Warren was just a better candidate all around, in my opinion. And I felt like if men and United States wasn't chauvinistic, she'd be our president right now. Not only that, we had the Never Trumpers kind of sway the fucking election towards Joe Biden. And so, of course, that's why Joe Biden became the nominee. But now we're dealing with Joe Biden, and he's out there bragging about how he's not progressive. He's just bragging like status quo is his thing. And it's disgusting. And I really don't see how America is going to get better. I feel like we're on a downward spiral right now. I think Donald Trump was just the icing on the cake, but I think that we can't solve problems anymore. Democrats are going to blame it on process and say, hey, it's the filibuster and it's this, that. Republicans are just going to say Democrats want to destroy the country and try to make a boogeyman out of whatever. And so, meanwhile, we have homelessness. We have our infrastructure falling down. When anybody I know goes to China, they come back and they're like, we're fucked. You know why? Because China has this great infrastructure. And you can, you're going to hear all these arguments from capitalists saying, well, but they don't fill it. China is fucking taking over. They have this one, if they want to do something, they can do it. There's no fucking need to have a discussion. They just do it. There's problems with that. I'm not suggesting we take their approach, but we're going to lose to China. I'm telling you right now, this is what my intelligence friends tell me. They're like, teach your fucking children Mandarin or learn Cantonese, one or the other. But this ain't like, the future is China. And you know what? Why part of that is, even despite the fact that we have all this military, despite the fact that we think that we're the greatest country in the world, it's because we can't solve our own problems. And so when Status Quo Joe says, hey, you know what? I'm not Bernie Sanders. What he's saying is, yeah, I'm not willing to stick my neck out to solve a problem or sell an idea that may be the best thing for us. I'm just going to be status quo. And that's why we're going to be on a downward spiral. I'm telling you right now, I don't want to be on I told you so mountain. And I'm not saying that China's going to come in and take us over, but the next century is going to be owned by China. We're in the very beginning of the 21st century, and I'm telling you right now, this century is going to be the century for that China essentially usurps the United States as the greatest superpower. And it has to do with the fact that you continue to vote for your team, despite the fact that your team doesn't deliver results and you fucking don't demand it. And we got Lloyd Smucker in there fucking acting like our votes don't count. That's why the fuck we're going to lose. Because we have fucking idiots in charge. Idiots. Real fucking idiots. People that don't see the big picture, don't understand our fucking position, don't understand what it takes to fucking lift up a population, and that's why we're going to fucking lose. And so Status Quo Joe, when he makes those comments, it turns my stomach, and I had nothing better to do than bash him tonight. So, listen, I'm going to end on that. Dennis, I see a couple comments. Let's see if I can read them. Yeah, agreed. The comment was that the DNC leaders also kind of advocated for Joe because they're status quo too. No one really wants fucking change, apparently. What's that say? Yeah, empires fall, brother. I see that. What's up, John? Thanks for the comment. Maybe I'll leave that comment up. I'll tell you what, next time I'll make this screen so that when you guys throw in comments, it'll pop up on the side, and that way it doesn't take over the whole screen like that. Maybe that'll be a little bit nicer for you, and I just did this kind of on the fly. By the way, I appreciate you guys watching. I'm still amazed that people watch me, honestly. It still fucking bugs me out sometimes, especially when I see people out and they want to talk to me about the show. I'm just like, But anyway, I appreciate it. Listen, I'm going to wrap. I'm just going to close with this point, and that is Status Quo Joe isn't impressing me so far. I feel like there's no better candidate coming out of the GOP, and therefore, and they have no vision for America, so you won't ever see me vote for the Republicans until they get their shit straight and actually have a real vision for America. I'm not even going to, I could even ignore the racism in their party if it's not coming from their leaders, and if people are attracted to the party because they think that that's the thing, I could actually get over that if I saw a vision for what America looked like and the top people weren't pitching that stuff. Of course, again, that's not the case right now. I'm just saying it is a real possibility that Republicans could earn my vote if they did a fucking flip-flop and change their whole dynamic. And obviously fucking Lloyd Smucker's got to fucking go. But the point is that Democrats have my vote now, but unfortunately they have my vote, and it's sad because we have Status Quo Joe in there bragging about doing nothing, and, you know, it's sad, but what the fuck else am I going to do? Like, vote for punching myself in the face or hitting myself in the nuts? Which one do I want to do? I'm going to choose the face just because it hurts more when I hit myself in the nuts. So that's how I feel when I vote right now, and when I hear folks like Joe Biden say, you know, Bernie Sanders is foreign, or, you know, people, you know, talking about socialism and communism, when these are just fucking problems. These are problems that we need to solve. And so how do you solve it? Well, I mean, it just blows my mind that they actually think they're doing anything. Like, you're not solving any problem. You're basically moving money around and appropriating funds for shit. That's what it becomes when you're led. And people are pushing me to run for city council or take the city council thing. I'm like, you know why that turns me off? Because then you're just at the bottom of the food chain appropriating bullshit. And so I'd rather just grow this platform and yell and scream about the fucking entire system as opposed to joining the system at this point. And so that's where my position is on that. But anyway, listen, I'm going to wrap. Tonight I talked about Joe Biden, how he's shitty. I also kind of talked about my affinity for Elizabeth Warren. And then I'm going to wrap with this. You guys have been awesome. The fact that you're commenting, the fact that I know you guys, but I also know that you guys are folks that I've interacted with in real life. And I just find it very awesome that you actually take the time to watch the show. I know you support me in different ways, and everybody, that goes for everybody. I mean, there's a lot of folks that are supporting me. There's a lot of folks that send me stuff in my inbox. And, you know, I did mention on Monday about my friend Chris Perry, who, you know, passed away. And he was one of those guys that was always in my inbox as well. And so it means a lot to me, and I can't say it any more than I made a whole career change. I gave up a lot of money, put a lot of money on the table for this, and I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it, and you guys are making it worth it. And so far, this is just the beginning. As I told you before, this year is going to be me experimenting and playing around. This is a 5-year plan. I'm hoping to figure out how to make money within 5 years, and that's a long time, but I want to do it that way because I know who I am and I know kind of how things roll. So what's the comment here? Gratitude. Well said. No problem, brother. You've been good. You've been a good person to me as well. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that supports it. By the way, if you don't know, you can go to the store and shop and buy some gear or subscribe to the blog. I promised you at the beginning of this year I'd put 2 blogs out a week. I have not let you down so far. And I've done a show every time I've said so far this year. So I'm being consistent. And so I continue to make that promise and hold myself accountable to continue to deliver this thing that I'm trying to do. And hopefully you'll stick with me and watch me do this journey. So thank you very much. Thanks for the comments, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow. We're off on Friday. We do Monday through Thursday because we believe in the 4-day workday. So I'm on tomorrow, and then I'll be off, and then we have one more week, and then I take my break. So next week's the week, I do 4 weeks, and then I take a week off. That's for my mental health. That's for your mental health. You can't take every day of me. You know you fucking can't. So that's the plan. So I'll see you tomorrow at 10:30. Thanks again for listening. Have a good night, everybody.